Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with reference recordings. And today we're talking about Carl Orff's perennial chestnut, Carmina Burana. Yes, I mean, everybody knows Carmina Burana by now, doesn't it? You know, there was a time when it wasn't all that well known. I remember for the first time I heard it, I was in high school. And some friends of mine were in the all-state choir. I was not. It was a couple of years before my time, but they made a recording. And the recording they made was the two piano and percussion version of Carmina Burana. And our music teacher had it and played it, bits of it for us, and was like, wow, that's really cool. What the heck is that? And that was in 1970. Maybe 73, somewhere in there. I mean, it was a while ago. Ever since then, the piece has just taken off like a rocket. I mean, you can hear it everywhere. Particularly, what made it really famous, I think, was the movie Excalibur, and that it showed up when King Arthur is galloping along to sleep with whatever her name is. I don't know. It was a thing. Also Parsifal, that was in Excalibur too a lot. And then the band arrangements, which are played like at football games. Just the opening of O Fortuna. When we talk about Carmina Burana, remember the popular aspect of it. We're only talking about one little piece out of, a couple of dozen or something that make up the whole piece. That's the very opening chorus, O Fortuna. And of that, the initial apostrophe to fate, O Fortuna velut luna statu variabilis. I mean, I've sung it since then. So, yeah. That is the thing that got arranged for band, and they play at football games whenever a team scores or something. This band arrangement, because it's only a couple bars, so it can sound sort of powerful and threatening, and all that stuff. It's just unbelievable how popular it's become. And recordings have followed suit. I mean, there are recordings everywhere. And Carl Orff lived till the 1980s, I think he was around. 82. 1895 to 1982. He's really best known after Carmina Burana for his educational work, for the things he did for music education and for the Orff method and all this other stuff. There were Orff schools sitting up, the School of Orff, Orff Tech, Orff Central, Orff Elementary. There's all these little Orff schools where you can go and learn your Orff and play cute little percussion instruments. My sister did it, actually. Our school got a set of Orff technical percussion thingies and used to teach the system. So he was really very well. He was also a Nazi. That's another issue. But basically, after Carmina Burana, he wrote a lot of things that were quite similar, and none of them caught on. None of them caught on anything like Carmina Burana, though some of them are delightful. I mean, his operas, Der Monde and Die Kluge, they're beautiful, they're fun, they're enjoyable. They have too much dialogue, way too much dialogue. The music is simple and catchy, like Carmina Burana. And then he did the Greek tragedies, which are almost intolerable, and more stuff like that. So Orff's career really hinged on Carmina Burana, which was an essay in neo-primitivism and socialist realism, really. I mean, it was written in 1939 after the Nazis had come to power in Germany, and it was supposed to be an expression of folkish simplicity and ethnic, racial, whatever you want. And, people sort of ignore that aspect of it because it doesn't really matter now. I mean, the way it did then. It may be that aspect of it sort of prevented its acceptance for about 10 minutes outside of Germany, but it sure didn't last long. And the inspiration for all of this was Stravinsky, of course, specifically Stravinsky's Les Noces for two pianos and percussion. I mean, Orff basically built his whole career on that and on the inspiration of early Renaissance composers or late Baroque or early Baroque composers like Monteverdi, where you have, highly melismatic but very simple vocal lines over simple accompaniments. I mean, if you take out, for example, the harpsichords and that sort of continuo and substitute, Javanese buckle gongs and exotic percussion from, Monteverdi's stuff, you get Orff, or something fairly similar to Orff. So anyway, Carmina Burana has been around for a bazillion years, and the reference recording, quite simply, is this one. It's authorized. Look, he signed it. See? Authorized by Carl Orff. Actually, he authorized quite a few recordings in his lifetime and participated in some of them. He spoke on a couple of them and whatnot, and he gave a verbal thingy, but it doesn't matter because this is the authorized one in stereo, and it immediately swept the board. Again, we're not talking about the best or your favorite or anything else. Actually, this is certainly one of the best. I mean, it's one of the top, tiny handful of Carmina Buranas. It's with Eugen Jochum and the chorus and orchestra of the Deutschen Oper Berlin, with an amazing lineup of soloists. Gundula Janowitz, Gerhard Stolze, and Dietrich Fischer-Dieskau. It doesn't get any better than that. The choral singing is just marvelous. The playing is marvelous. And you have Jochum, who actually devoted quite a bit of his time to promoting the music of Carl Orff. A lot of German conductors were not into contemporary music over much, particularly, traditional German conductors. And Jochum was certainly one of those, but he did go for Orff stuff. I mean, Herbert von Karajan also did a little bit of Orff. He was an Orffette, I think you'd call him. But Jochum was a bit more committed to the cause. He recorded all three of the works that can consist of the initial ballet choral contraption, of which Carmina Burana is part one. Triumphi, I think, was the title of all three of them. The second one was Catuli Carmina, and the last is the Triumph of Aphrodite. Il Triunfo di Aphrodite, where people shriek and scream at you in Greek, and it's just delicious. So this is the one. On Deutsche Grammophon, it's fabulous. It has the singular benefit in Jochum as a conductor of somebody who is able to bring expressivity and color and variety from even the simplest accompanimental figures. It's not just rhythm and percussion and screaming chorus. You actually hear the rest of the orchestration. You hear the wonderful, wonderful subtleties of detail, because there really are quite a few. It's a beautifully written piece. It really is. And it's the reference recording. It's that simple. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Get your Orff reference, and you can refer to Orff as much as you like. Take care.